Bernie Sanders is undoubtedly one of, if not the most successful progressive candidate in American history. Whilst he may not have won the presidency, he's been incredibly successful in building a strong movement of progressivism, of leftism, of socialism, social democracy, democratic socialism, all of these things that people would describe as left. It doesn't matter. There is a strong movement now behind Bernie that has been built very successfully. He's had incredible success in bringing people over to the left in whatever form to be under this banner of the movement and to be prepared to vote for a progressive candidate like Bernie Sanders. But now the simple question is, we have the unfortunate result. Biden won the Democrat primary and hopefully he'll win the presidency. So who is going to be the next leftist leader? Not just leftist leader, but leftist electoral leader. Who is going to be our next candidate? Who's going to be the person to bully Joe Biden for 4 years when he's in office? Hopefully. Who's going to lead this movement beyond? Who's going to take Bernie Sanders' electoral torch and try and bring this further? You know, he nearly won twice. He came so close to winning the primary. So who's going to be the person to bring us over that line? So yeah, that's what I've got today. I've got 4 different candidates that I would like to bring to you and show for you that I think could be effective and prominent leftist leaders in the future in electoral politics. Some of them are a bit obvious, some of them are a bit mixed. So the first name, a pretty obvious one. This is Alexandria OcasioCortez. Alexandria OcasioCortez, obviously from the Bronx, currently a congresswoman. She's just great. She's currently, I believe, one of, if not the most popular politician in America. She's obviously an amazing speaker. She's got great policies. Despite being, new to Congress and new to public politics at all, really, she's managed to build such a major profile and to be such a big name, someone who people listen to and someone whose voice does carry weight. And, obviously, I think she'd be an amazing leader for a progressive movement. She's got the policies, she's got the speaking ability, but what she also has, which I think is an undervalued quality, and one that I think we've particularly learned from the Bernie Sanders campaign, is she's particularly good at working with the establishment types. What do I mean by this? Well, one thing I think we learned from the Bernie Sanders campaign is a failing to play the politics game. He failed to knock on Tom Steyer's door and say, hey, if you drop out now and endorse me, I'll put you in my cabinet. Oh, great. He'd failed to go to Warren and say, right, Warren, drop out now, you can be VP. There was a failing to play this sort of the cynical politics game like the Biden team did so well, when they got all the centrist candidates to drop out and join the team and then keep Warren in to take votes from Bernie, blah, blah, blah. Very sad. We need to get better at playing that game. That's what I think AOC would be great at. She's shown in her time as a politician that she's very good at playing the corporate game, or at least the establishment game. She can work with these people without compromising her core values. She can work with people like Elizabeth Warren. She can, be friends with them and love them and chat and whatever the hell, I don't care, while still not giving in her core values and her main beliefs. And I think that's something that's very important. We need someone who can create an environment of welcoming and success on the left. I think in order to see leftist victory, we're going to need to show that the left can win. The main reason people voted for Biden was because of electability, for God's sakes. I think there's 2 strategies to solving this. Number 1, prove to the public that leftists win. Progressives win. Our policies are popular. All we got to do is get into the door, and we can get far. Number 2 is creating an environment for establishment Democrats that moving left is good. That joining our movement and working with us is a good thing and is something that will raise your profile and get you more supporters and will give you funding and all these sort of things. It's something that is a good thing to do. We want to entice the Kamala Harrises of the world. The people who started off pretty progressive then moved right when they got a bit scared about it. No, we want to create an environment where these people will move left when they get scared. These people will push further left and they will, get closer to Bernie when they're scared of losing. And I think that's something that AOC can do very well. She's already seen great success, when her opponent candidate in the primary had like millions and millions of dollars pumped into her campaign from the Democrats and from Trump and everything to try and outseat her, and she still wins. This is something that is incredible and we need more of on the left. We need to create this environment of, we win. If you want to win, you're going to join us. And I think that's something that AOC can do very well. She can work with these people. And I think that's something that stands out a bit from the rest of, the squad. I think Ilhan Omar would fit this position very well. Also, I think she could also really substitute into the AOC role. Young, progressive, strong policies, etc. But I think AOC just seems to play this politics game a little bit better, but that might just be me. Either or, I love them both. I think they're both incredible. Obviously, she can't run president like right now. She's only 30, but when she can, I think she really could be a powerful voice for leftism. And not only could she be, a good voice from the outside, she could be a good voice from the inside. She can be our electoral success. She can be the person to carry our policies into action. And yeah, that's why I think AOC is a great candidate. But obviously you expected that. Jumping now to someone who's a little bit more unexpected, less obvious than AOC, I'm going to go with Cornell West. Cornell West is a philosopher, activist, professor, all of these things. In politics, his main focus is racial, gender, and class issues, basically everything we hear about on the left. Probably heard of him. He was very involved in the Bernie Sanders campaign, endorsed him, and supported him in many speeches and interviews and everything that you could possibly imagine. Cornell West, first thing, great guy. He just seems, he has this energy about him where he is just so lovely and passionate and compassionate as well. I think he really represents a compassionate politics, which is something I think can be effective in bringing people to the left. That we're nice people. We want people in our movement. Joining us is a good thing. Joining us is something which will reward you. Not, you're not just going to get thrown out into the dust. This is something which is a good thing to do. On policies, he's incredible. I hadn't heard a single opinion of his that I don't like. And I think once again for the pragmatism point, I think he's great on. I know it's a little bit controversial in left wing spaces, but he went on Joe Rogan, which is something that I think is a great thing. He was very successful there. You read the comments of that video, everyone just loves him. His ideas are so convincing. He's such a lovely person, and I think he can be a really convincing and persuasive voice on the left. I think he's an amazing orator. His ideas and his arguments are all incredible. I've never seen him lose an argument or a debate. I've never seen him, at least, even if it didn't go incredibly far, I've never seen him come out badly from a discussion, which is something rare to say in modern politics. But yeah, I love Cornell West. I think he'd be an incredible electoral leader for a progressive movement. He was involved in the Bernie Sanders campaign, so he knows this movement inside and out, and he is a really good representative for its ideas. Downsides, he is 67 years old, which is quite old, so it's not a massive issue, but hey, age has never been a massive problem in American politics. I think every politician is about 75 these days, so 67 comparatively is very young. Another problem with him, obviously, is his lack of electoral experience. He's never really run for office, I don't believe, so he doesn't really know the intricacies of running a campaign. He's been involved in them, and he's great in interviews and everything like this, but he doesn't have that campaigning experience that I think could be needed. But then again, you can get people around you who can help with that. So Cornel West, I really think he could make be an interesting and new and fresh, powerful voice on the left and to take our movement forward. Moving on to my third candidate now, this is going to be Nina Turner. Nina Turner is a former state senator from Ohio. She was the co-chair of the Bernie Sanders campaign in 2020. She was also the head and face of the Our Revolution movement. And I think Nina Turner is an amazing voice. She was one of the most vocal representatives for Bernie Sanders from the team. She went on a million interviews where she would just bully people for their terrible ideas and critiquing Bernie. And I think she's a really impressive speaker, really strong arguments and presence and everything that you could possibly want from a politician. I think she has. Similar to some of the other people here, she lacks that bit of electoral experience. She's only been she's been like a district councillor, I think, and then also a state senator, but she doesn't have that Washington experience. And I think that can be something which is helpful in people viewing her as a more serious candidate. But I think one thing that she really has going for her is that, she basically ran the Bernie campaign. She was the co-chair of the campaign. She has the experience of how this movement was built and how this movement was carried on. So she understands it once again inside and out, and really has the ability to carry it forward. She understands why Bernie was successful in building this movement and bringing people over to our side. She was one of the key pioneers of the most successful progressive movement in American politics history. I mean, this is someone who, despite not having the electoral experience, has experience in running this campaign. I think that's someone with these skills and someone with this knowledge of what made Bernie so successful, rather than throwing the cat out of the bag. All right, when you try something completely different, I think this is very valuable. Once again, a very divisive voice and a really impressive leader for the progressive movement. I could see her being a president in the future, to be honest. Yeah, and one thing that really plays well for her in the pragmatic sense and working with this sort of establishment, liberally people, was that in 2016, Jill Stein offered her the position of her running mate, and Nina Turner turned it down, and the quote was something along the lines of, "No, I still think the Democrat Party is worth fighting for." And I think that's a great message. That's something which, once again, shows that she's willing to and wants to build a culture of success on the left and wants to make the Democrat Party left, and doesn't want to just, give up now we've lost and burn everything to the ground and just be doom and gloom forever. She wants to be able to build a leftist movement in the Democrat Party and then shift these people left. The establishment Dems, they don't care. They're just going with whatever they feel like. And I really think that she could be successful in building a culture of, oh, you go progressive, you win. So join our movement, we're going to win. And yeah, I think she'd be a great debater. She'd be really good on stage, and I think she's an amazing advocate for her ideas, and I think she'd be an amazing presidential candidate. So moving on now to my fourth and final and most out there progressive leader I would like to see in electoral politics. This is going to be Killer Mike, otherwise known as Michael Santiago. Render is a rapper, obviously by the name of Killer Mike, member of Run the Jewels, and is a passionate political advocate on many issues. He was a part of the Bernie Sanders campaign. They did interviews together, and he did a number of fantastic speeches, one which is incredibly memorable, in which I would encourage everyone to go Google, where he basically encourages people to support Bernie. The time is now. The time is now. The time is now. And then how this was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Hopefully not. And then obviously in the Black Lives Matter movement, he's been very active as well. After the George Floyd killing, he had an incredibly moving and gut-wrenching speech in Atlanta, which I would encourage, if you haven't seen it, to go watch it. It is tear-jerking. It is so moving to see him speak, and I think that's something that we could be really valuable. I think the Black Lives Matter movement is such an important political force, such an important civil rights movement now, that in order to see real policy change, there needs to be a real progressive voice, or someone who is an amazing advocate for these arguments and these ideas to bring it forward into electoral change. Now, Killer Mike obviously has very little electoral experience, I'll admit that. He once ran to be in a district council, I think, in California. He ran as a writing candidate, so I don't think that really counts. And obviously that's a problem. However, celebrities turning politicians without much experience, it's not been the least successful thing in the planet. It's it's in terms of winning an electoral seat, pretty good. I think it's hardly like that's totally impossible. I think it could be very effective. Number one, he's an amazing speaker. These speeches are incredible and passionate and powerful. I think they can really make a difference in politics. I think the ability to speak is an underrated skill in politics. I think it can really help you push past the noise and the smears and the rubbish that you'll get from mainstream media. If you are just such a powerful that every time you talk, people are listening and they get what you say. They're not just going, oh, I like his policy, but MSNBC told me that he's not going to win, so I'm not going to vote for him. And I think that's something that Killer Mike could really break through, because he's such a powerful speaker. And you got to watch the speeches. Watch the speeches. The most obvious problem, or the first problem that you'll think of when considering Killer Mike to be a candidate, is that his name's Killer Mike. Perhaps the name Killer won't play that well in politics. But of course, his real name is Michael Render, and when he ran in California, he did run as Michael Render, so that's not something that's totally new. I doubt he would actually run as Killer Mike. And whilst that could cause a slight problem, I don't think that's the be-all and end-all. Oh, he called himself Killer Mike as a rapper, he's got to go. I think in terms of politics, calling yourself Killer Mike and being a rapper is probably quite low down in skeletons in the closet, and things that could be a deal breaker in terms of your past in politics. I don't think it's actually as big an issue people would think of. And yeah, so whilst it is a bit of an out there choice, it is a bit random almost. I think that what the left needs is a unifying voice, someone who can bring all of these groups together, someone who can really bring the Black Lives Matter movement into the progressive wing and into the Bernie Sanders movement, so we can get through and make real electoral change. And someone who is a strong speaker and an amazing advocate for so many amazing policies could be someone who can take this movement forwards and really unify our movement into electoral change. But yeah, Killer Mike, I think, is someone who could really be an impressive political force, and I think is someone that we on the left should consider more, I guess. I wouldn't be disappointed to see him more around. And yeah, those are 4 political candidates that I would like to see lead the left in the future. Killer Mike, AOC, Cornell West, and Nina Turner. Let me know what you think in the comments. Which of these 4 are your favorites? Is there anyone that I've missed out that you think could be far better? Is my reasonings behind the need for pragmatism, totally flawed? Go for it. Please tell me. I'd love to hear about it. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like and give it a subscribe as well. Give me a subscribe. That would be very nice. Really think about who's going to be leading the Bernie Sanders movement beyond the 4 years of Joe Biden. Hopefully, once again, who's going to be our next progressive leader? I think these 4 would be amazing, but who do we see can be the person to lead us forward, so that we don't just give up and we're not just going to be doomers and we're not just going to abandon all of our hopes and dreams because we lost twice. We're still in it, and I think these 4 people could really carry on this movement more, and we can see even more electoral impact and change. Thanks for watching.